Greetings and salutations, loyal viewers of this channel. My name is Sean, and today we're going to talk about what is going on in the south suburbs of the city of Chicago, because a lot of people who don't own very nice fancy homes or anything like that recently opened up their mail in order to get their property tax assessment from Cook County, only to discover that their tax bill went up by 20 to 30 times what it was the previous year. Now, of course, Cook County says this was just a mistake. Don't worry about it. We didn't mean to tax you all that much. It was just an error where we misassessed the value of your home by a factor of 10 or sometimes 15 in some of these instances. So don't worry about it. Everything's all good. You just gotta pay your regular ordinary taxes, which we will send out in a little bit. Now, of course, they only said that not after the citizens complained, not after they tried to get it changed on their own, but after the local news discovered it. So here is a perfect example of a left-wing city trying to crush homeowners, people who happen to have modest homes in the suburbs, and not giving a damn until somebody notices. So we're going to put a spotlight on it, because although the local news appears to have saved this one homeowner, there's about 4,400 people that have been scammed by their government beyond that, and we need to highlight it, because if you live in one of these suburbs, you need to know what you got to do in order to get your bill back to normal. Now, of course, we're going to get into this, but before we do, thank you so much for supporting this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Now to a South suburban man who got quite the sticker shock when he opened his property tax bill, a tax hike of more than $35,000.
We've been warning about a spike in taxes across the south suburbs. Well, tonight...
So right off the top, the local news does not hesitate. They don't waste any time, and they tell you that this man got a tax bill that had a tax hike of $35,000 on his property value. And to be clear, so you can understand context, this isn't somebody who paid $100,000 in property tax and now owes $135,000. This is someone who paid $1,800 in property tax and now owes $37,000 to Cook County.
Tia Ewing has the massive mistake on this homeowner's bill.
Due to an error, a mistake, a happy accident, nothing to worry about, although we're not going to fix it for you unless, of course, you get the local news to come at us, and then we'll say, okay, our bad, we'll send you a new bill.
Current homeowner says that he received this tax bill showing that his property, his home that was built in 1950, was assessed at over a little more than $1 million. But Daryl Lloyd says that his home is only worth a little more than $180,000.
So right off the top, I want to point out that I'm a New Yorker, so when I hear a home built in 1950 worth $1 million in that tone where it's meant to sound ridiculous, I just want everybody to understand that the homes that are all around me, not this particular building that I'm in right now, a lot of them were built in the 1940s or before then, and they're worth almost $2 million, although not in this particular neighborhood, but at least $1 million. This is not uncommon that you would find in New York City, at least, these homes that are not only built in the 40s and 50s, but still have the original kitchens and furniture and all that from the 40s and 50s, and they would be worth astronomical amounts, especially for the very little amount of house that you get. That being said, the South Chicago suburbs are not New York City. When this guy says home built in 1950 that is not worth that much, I'm going to show it to you, you're going to see it, and you'll understand exactly what we're talking about.
I was devastated. I'm like, let me look at the percentage, but I was literally devastated when I saw that increase.
Daryl Lloyd lives a modest lifestyle. He bought this 3-bedroom, 1-bath home in 2006 and paid cash $115,000.
So look, I'm going to explain to you why this house is not worth anywhere near what it's worth. But to be clear, it's not a crappy house. And by the way, Daryl Lloyd's story, I really like it. This guy saved up his money, paid straight cash for his home. He obviously takes care of the land. And this just goes to show you that when somebody owns something, when they're invested in it, they tend to take care of it. And I like the look of this home. I like the look of this property. I like the shape that it's in. And I like the attitude of Mr. Daryl Lloyd. That being said, I don't like what happened to him, but I am not saying that it's nowhere near worth the $1 million, because because it's not an attractive home or anything like that. It's based on the location and other factors and other limits associated with this house. And of course, the neighborhood value. It is not a knock on him who did everything right. And by the way, if you can buy a home for cash like this in today's America or even 2006 America, where prices were shooting up for the original housing bubble, then God bless you.
I see 960 square feet. I don't have a second floor. I don't have a basement.
Now, he makes the case right there that he has all these different various limitations to his home. No second floor, no basement. Those tend to be common in this particular area, apparently. So obviously, his home, it should not be worth well over $1 million. On top of that, while we've seen homes skyrocket, and again, as a New Yorker, it is not unusual for me to see something that originally sold for $250,000 now be worth over $1 million. This is not how this particular neighborhood works. It was $115 when he bought it cash, and it now, with all the improvements that he's put into it and the time, is worth about $180 according to a normal ordinary tax assessment. And again, it would have had to have jumped from around that $180 value to well over $1 million in value in order to explain his tax bill.
Just days ago, his home sweet home on Gardner Avenue in unincorporated Chicago Heights felt more like a nightmare.
I'm at a loss. So right now, I don't know what to do. I can't even sell the house because they see the taxes. Everybody gonna run.
Again, I really do like this guy. He says, I can't even sell the house because as soon as somebody sees this tax bill, they're going to take off and run. This guy looks like he might want to run, and it's really sad because he built himself up this home. He obviously takes care of it. He pays his bills. He pays his taxes, and he should be somebody that is respected by Cook County, by the city of Chicago, by all these different organizations that say they want to help, aid, and assist the black man because he's living up to it on his own. But of course, all the programs that people like Brandon Johnson and Cook County officials advocate for aren't actually to help people or to reward people who help themselves. They're to punish people and get them dependent on the system. So it's not surprising to me that a bunch of people who own their own homes in this particular area are getting hit with all these crazy tax bills. And again, I need to remind you, this guy did not get it fixed by going to the county clerk. He did not get it fixed by any official channel. He ended up getting the runaround. The only reason this is fixed, as you will find out through this segment, is due to the fact that the local news ended up inquiring about it.
This is the tax bill that Lloyd received last year, a little over $1,800. But this is the whopping bill he received last week, a property tax hike of over 3,811% for a total of over $30,000.
I mean, just think about how absurd that is. That is nearly 4,000% of an increase that this guy ended up facing in terms of his property taxes due to the incompetence, or maybe not incompetence, of officials at Cook County, of people in and around the city of Chicago. All this man wanted to do was pay his regular ordinary property tax bill. He obviously pays it on time, and it's absolutely shameful that this is what he was greeted with.
The diesel mechanic and safety inspector is currently receiving disability after suffering an injury.
I had to move in with a relative or something. You know, I can't afford it.
So to add insult to injury, the man is quite literally injured. He went on disability recently. He was a diesel mechanic, honorable profession, blue collar work, ended up getting hurt. He's now being paid disability at this moment in time, so he's on a fixed income. And then all of a sudden, at his most vulnerable point, he gets hit hard by big city politics. He gets hit hard by the Illinois political machine. And again, he's not the only one. According to Cook County themselves, they have assessed way more higher bills to people who definitely didn't get them based on this new program that accidentally ended up doing this.
The Cook County Treasurer's Office says sadly Lloyd isn't the only homeowner with a large tax bill. The office conducted this analysis and found that, quote, the assessor's office acknowledged it erred in calculating land values for more than 4,400 homes in the south and southwest suburbs. That led to severe overassessments for homes on larger plots of land. The errors were discovered too late in the process for them to be corrected before tax bills were calculated, printed, and mailed.
So right there, they say, hey, look, we did a thing with the computers or whatever. We overassessed these different homes that were on larger plots of land, and we're sorry, it was just a mistake. I mean, we were off by more than a factor of 10, but, you know, it's just an error. Don't worry about it. I mean, you know, just come into the county clerk's office and you'll be able to fix it, and it's going to be okay. It's all all going to be good. Just honestly, seriously, shut up. It's going to be fine. You idiots. We just made a quick error. It's no biggie. Just relax. But again, I've already spoiled this part. That's not actually true. The only reason this got fixed is because of the news.
Lloyd says he went to the Cook County Tax Assessor's office to get help and kept getting the runaround.
I said, let me go downtown City Hall to the assessor's office. And at that point, I showed them my taxes, and I told them that I had a substantial increase, and they was like, everybody taxes increase. I talked to another gentleman. He looked around and made some calls, and he said, well, I called another department. They won't answer the phone.
That's when Lloyd called us about the $1 million mistake.
So, of course, they already had a property tax increase that was set. So when this guy came in complaining about it, they were like, everybody's taxes increase, not even looking at his paperwork. He goes to another person. He calls a different agency. He says they're not picking up the phone because obviously why would anybody in Cook County, why would anybody in Illinois government actually be working at the time that they're working? And after all of this runaround, he eventually ended up going to the local news, and they ended up finding a resolution for him.
Fox 32 was able to reach the assessor's office, and tonight we have confirmation that the astronomical tax increase is a mistake. The assessor tells us, quote, this property was given an incorrect assessment due to a permit that was unintentionally applied to the property. We will process a corrected tax bill for this property in the coming weeks, ensuring that the homeowner will ultimately pay the right amount in property taxes.
Now, look, they should definitely follow up on this particular story with this particular individual, because until he gets a new bill that says clearly and obviously he does not owe that over $30,000, I am not ready to believe it. But it is quite telling that this person, the assessor, made a horrible mistake that impacted 4,400 individuals and families, homeowners, and they're bearing the brunt of this. And when you go to complain about it, when you go to talk about it, when you go to try to get this adjusted, this obvious error, the only way that you can actually get some results is by shaming them publicly from external means, i.e. the local media. In this particular case, if people would have forced themselves to overpay, taken out a HELOC loan, done all manner of things because they were terrified by this number, you think that Cook County would have compensated them for the interest accrued or all these other problems? This isn't a little baby mistake. This isn't a no big deal, whoopsie oopsie. This is something that somebody should get fired over. And I'm certain, by the way, that they have some kind of firm that produced some kind of technology for them and said, hey, look, we're going to be able to assess all of these properties for you with our algorithm. You're going to type in the machine, and it's going to spit out the rate, and you won't have to do anything or worry about anything. Because this machine, this computer, this AI is going to take care of everything. And that person should have their contract revoked. They should end up having to pay back the money from their contract to Cook County, but we're not going to see any of those consequences. We're not going to see any tax assessors fired. We're not going to see any contracts revoked or anything of the sort. What we are going to see is that some people who got significantly lower increases, but still unjustified under the law increases, are going to end up paying that. And all of a sudden, Cook County's going to be like, well, we didn't even notice that you overpaid your property taxes. Thank you so much, you absolute sucker. Thank you so much, you absolute fool. You just got scammed. We went a little too far with this guy, but you know what? All those other 4,400 people, they're not going to be able to call the local news. Maybe 5 or 6 of them are going to get segments, and that's it. Everyone else, we're going to extract all the capital we can, and then we're going to put liens on their home in order to prevent them from getting loans and ruin their lives, because that's what we do in Illinois. That's what we do in the South Chicago suburbs. Look, I know the local news produces this as a story that we're supposed to be happy about because they eventually helped out this guy, but I can't help but see the dark side of this, and I just want to know what you guys think about it down in the comments below. Should I just be happy for this guy and ignore all the rest, or should I recognize that a lot of people with lower increases are definitely going to get screwed over? Again, let me know down in the comments below. If you liked the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on the social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a South Chicago suburbs property tax scam. Till next time.